Hello, my name is Matt Friedman, and I'm the author of a book called Where Were You? A Profile of Modern Slavery. This book came out November 1st, 2021 by Penguin Random House, and I'm really excited about it. And in this video, I'm going to talk about this book to help you get some sense of what it's about and what I was trying to get across to people. Over the years, many people have asked me for recommendations of books related to modern slavery and human trafficking. And there are many books out there, many good ones. What I tried to do with this book, though, is to go into my 35 years of experience to encapsulate everything that I learned from my experiences working in over 40 countries to help the reader to really get a sense of what is the issue, how does it work, how does it affect the victims, who are the perpetrators, what's being done to address it, and to do it in one manuscript so that the reader has everything that they need. People often ask me, how long did it take you to write this book? The answer is over 35 years, because it took me that long to get to a point where I really felt like I had something to say. So what this book does is takes my 35 years of experiences, talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, focusing on the victims, the perpetrators, the systems, and the procedures, and I lay out what's working, what's not working, why is it not working, why is it working, to help the reader to understand what is human trafficking, what is modern slavery, and what is the relevance of this topic to them, to their own life. I've written this book to address basically three sections. The first part basically looks at the historical perspectives of human trafficking and modern slavery. When did it start? How does it work? I describe a lot of case examples. I get into the details of what happens to people and why. The second part looks at lessons learned, things that I have learned over the years as a person implementing programs to address the problem. I look at my successes, my failures, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and this helps the reader to get a general sense of some of the challenges and the complexity of what we're talking about. The last section is an appeal to help people to understand that they need to be part of the solution. They need to step up and help us in addressing this particular issue. And anyone who does this, I say, is heroic. There's a lot of people out there who have an inkling or a desire to want to do something. They don't know how to do it, and the book helps them through that process. People often ask me, what is one of the most kind of relevant and important stories in this book? And that's really hard to answer. There are so many different experiences that I've had that really taught me all kinds of things. But I guess what I'll do is tell the story that gives the title to this book, Where Were You? So years ago, I was living and working in Nepal. I was coming in contact with a lot of cases related to modern slavery and human trafficking, and I decided that I wanted to write a book. As part of this process, I went from shelter to shelter to interview the women and the girls. I went to one shelter and there was a girl named Gita. And every time I approached Gita, she said, no, I don't want to give my interview. But as I interviewed all of the other girls, she sat and listened to all the stories. When I finished at that shelter and I was leaving, Gita comes running up and said, I changed my mind. You can have my story. I was thrilled. So Gita sat on one side of the table, the rest of us sat on the other side of the table. In over a 3-hour period, she told the worst story I had ever heard of rape and torture and disease. This was just a terrible, terrible story. I honestly didn't know what to say to her. Finally, I turned to Gita and I said, wow, Gita, you must be so angry at those traffickers for the horrific things they did to you. She paused and paused and paused. And eventually said, no, I'm angry at you and you and you. She pointed at us. She said, where were you? Said that every single day she woke up praying for somebody to come and help her. Nobody came. She said she went to school till she was 12. She knew that everything around her was illegal right out in the open. She said she wasn't angry at the traffickers. She said they're just bad people being bad people. She said she was angry at the good people, at society for not caring enough to allow a 15-year-old girl to have been commercially raped 7,000 times only to get AIDS, and she was dying. Now, I tell this story because Gita pretty much called us all out. She recognized for us to really make a difference, society needs to care. Society needs to step up. Society needs to look at 40 million people in modern slavery and say enough is enough. And we all have to take a stand in addressing this. So that's the reason why I came up with this particular title. If I were to describe this book in just a couple of words, I think it would be, it's a book of hope. And I say this because despite what we're talking about, which is a really difficult topic, at the end of the day, much of what I try to convey in this book is that it doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to have this situation in place. If people were to step up, to get involved, to kind of take a stand related to this, human trafficking could be reduced significantly. And so what I really try to kind of end with this book is a sense of, if we as a world came together, united, and kind of accepted some responsibility for those people who are in these slavery-like conditions, we could make a difference. And that's really what I was trying to convey at the end of this book, is this sense of hope can prevail. People often say to me, it's really hard to read a book like this. It's so sad, it's so depressing. I don't want to kind of ruin my day. My response to this is, listen, there are 40 million people in modern slavery. Every day they toil in these terrible circumstances. For us, in order to address this as a world, we need to understand it, and we need to feel a little bit of their pain. So I challenge you to read the book, to expose yourself to this. Yeah, some of it is tough, but for you, in order to care about this, you really need to kind of understand their journey. And so what I try to do is to give information about what people are experiencing who are in this terrible situation, to help you walk down a path to understand, to feel, and then to perhaps turn around and respond. Because unless we get everyone to care about this issue, it isn't going to go away. And that's what we really need to do, is to help it to go away. And you can be a part of that process. People often ask, who should read this book? I think everybody should read this book. Why? Because a lot of us have a general sense of what human trafficking and modern slavery is, but not enough to really understand the issue. What the book does is offers a template so that in our mind we can understand, as information comes in, what is the issue, what's being done, and what our role can be in order to help address it. Now, as I've often said, I didn't write the book for the purpose of just writing a book. I wrote the book because I want to encourage people to be part of the solution, to understand the issue, to decide to do something, and then to do it. And there's many things people can do. By taking the information from the book, basically what you can do is to educate others, to refer others to websites or to information related to the topic. You can volunteer. There are a lot of volunteer opportunities that exist all across the world. All you have to do is to Google human trafficking, modern slavery in your community, and those websites will come up. Or you can give donations or contributions to organizations that are doing this type of work. Post-COVID, a lot of organizations are suffering. So I guess the bottom line with this is this. For us to really make a difference, we need you to be a part of the solution. And that's what the book basically says. If you step up, if you join the fight, it's heroic. So why don't we all try to be heroes? Why don't we all try to kind of take some responsibility for some of the people out there who need our help, and see whether or not we can make the world a better place. And that's what I tried to do with this book. I wanted to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you will kind of join us in our fight of addressing human trafficking and modern slavery. The book is available in all the major bookshops and on Amazon and Penguin Random House website. Thank you very much, and all the best.